So 2 cases I was involved in. They were both for people who are in the field of AI. They both have very distinct, separate niches in AI, but it's a long story with these cases, and I'm so happy that both of them have finally been approved this week. I took them both last year, and for the first one, the one that just got approved, actually, we filed it. It was a very strong case. We got a really nasty RFE, and then we responded to that RFE and got a really, really frustrating denial notice where the officer was clearly misapplying the law. It's the kind of case that I would like to sue on, but in AI, everything develops really rapidly, and so our client had actually gotten a new position, got a higher salary. There were a lot of factors that had changed in this case in just a matter of a couple of months. So path of least resistance is usually just refiling the case with new evidence. And that's what we did. We filed it with regular processing. And we filed it right away. I think within 2 months of the denial, we were refiling it. We have been waiting just a little bit to let it settle in. And then when the new policy manual update came out, it actually enabled the addition of one of his awards to be added to the record. So we went ahead and upgraded to premium, sent in additional evidence about this award, and it was just approved without any RFE. That's actually really rare. Usually when you refile a case after a denial, it's almost an automatic RFE. But I hope that the officer that approved this case saw the denial and saw that this was just not in line with the way policy and legal interpretation normally goes at the agency. It was a really strong case. So I'm really, really happy to see the approval come through. The other case that was approved recently, we filed it after the first case that I'm talking about, and we got the denial on the first case, and then we got the RFE on the second case, and the RFE was from the same officer as the first denied case. It was the same kind of misinterpretation of the law, the same bogus reasoning. So when I saw this, I was like, we're just going to get an identical denial to the other case. So I advised withdrawing that, refiling it. We refiled it with a bit of additional evidence, and that case was also approved. That one did get a request for evidence, though, which is very normal when you withdraw and then refile. You should expect an RFE. So the RFE was issued, but then the case was ultimately approved. So it's a really long journey for both of these people. I will say, like, a lot of attorneys knock the whole refile strategy, but I've been very successful with it. If a person is qualified, if they meet the 3 criteria and have some good final merits things on their profile, to a degree, they need the right officer to see the case, because the officers have vastly different interpretations and vastly different ways of looking at these cases. So a refile is not always going to be the best strategy. If you do refile, you will need to include some additional evidence or explanation, just something new for the officers to consider. But it's definitely worth looking at. A decision is not necessarily final in the EB-1A world.